Look, we've got to talk about that couple formerly known as royals, Harry and Meghan. They love to share their innermost thoughts and they love media attention, don't they? So
it didn't just stop at one rejection, it doubled down. And this time, it hit way deeper. Right after the Met Gala shut them out, another door slammed shut, but not by strangers, by family. King Charles made a move that's got everyone talking. Harry and Meghan were completely cut from the King's Trust Global Gala guest list. No invite, no appearance, nothing. Imagine that scene, a glittering night in New York tied directly to Harry's own father, yet he and Meghan are stuck back in Montecito, watching it all from a distance. How does that even happen?
Buckingham Palace has confirmed that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will not be returning as working members of the royal family. Prince Harry and Meghan stepped down from royal duties last year and moved to the United States.
Royal blood, global recognition, years in the spotlight, and still their names didn't make the list? And it doesn't stop there. The Met Gala on May 4th, one of the biggest fashion stages in the world, also passed them by. For Meghan, that could have been a major moment, a chance to lock in her image as a fashion force. But instead, total absence. And the whispers are getting louder. People keep saying she draws too much attention, that wherever she goes, the spotlight turns into controversy.
Know how they could expect that after all of this time, we would still just be silent if there is an active role that the firm is playing in perpetuating falsehoods about us.
Is that why these doors keep closing? Because when King Charles stepped into the US, his mission seemed clear: keep everything smooth, controlled, and drama-free. And if there's even a risk of headlines stealing focus, what's the easiest solution? Don't invite them. Inside the gala, it was nothing but power and prestige. Anna Wintour, Martha Stewart, Donatella Versace, Edward Enninful, every major name showed up as the king hosted a night packed with influence and elegance.
And it's not just the Met. They were absent from all events during King Charles's US visit this week. Royal events, White House events, just a full clean sweep of not there.
The room was full of icons, just not his own son. Let that really hit. Charles crossed an ocean, shook hands with the biggest names alive, shared moments with fashion royalty, but didn't reach out to Harry, who was just hours away. If a father makes that call, what message does it send to everyone else watching? And here's where the story takes a sharper turn, because this wasn't just bad luck, it looked calculated.
The snub stings particularly hard for the Duchess, who actually had a shot at attending this year's costume art-themed event, given that two of the co-chairs, Beyoncé and Venus Williams, have loose connections to her social circle.
Think about it. Anna Wintour has long-standing ties and respect for the royal family. She's seen the drama unfold in real time, the interviews, the headlines, the fallout. So when Harry and Meghan didn't make the Met Gala list either, was that really surprising?
You mean on any given day, the surrounds of the Opera House have got more people there than we saw for Harry and Meghan. It's like people avoided the area to avoid them. And there was that footage from Bondi Beach where people are just, suntanning whilst the media pack walks through.
That woman's my new hero.
This is like, leave us alone. We're at the beach. We don't want to see this spectacle. The level of interest was almost zero here.
Yeah, look, you see bigger crowds, trying to get petrol at the petrol station when the word about panic buying has gone around.
In just 1 week, two of the most elite events in America delivered the same cold message: you're not on the list. And that kind of pattern, that doesn't happen by accident. Now picture Harry walking into a room like that. What role would he even play anymore? No official title, no royal duties, no defined place in that world. Just another guest blending into a sea of influence. And insiders suggest his absence wasn't random, it was intentional, because the last thing organizers wanted was attention drifting toward controversy instead of the event itself.
Buckingham Palace says Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will no longer be working members of the royal family. In a statement, Queen Elizabeth said Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be loved members of my family, but she recognizes the challenges and intense scrutiny they've experienced. As a result, Meghan and Harry will no longer receive public funds and will no longer use their titles.
But this cut goes deeper than fashion, because the King's Trust Gala isn't just another party, it's personal. This is King Charles's legacy, his charity, his inner circle on display. Getting invited isn't just about status. It's about trust, alignment, belonging. So when that invite never comes, what does that really say? It says everything. Inside palace walls, things have finally felt more controlled, more stable. And bringing Harry and Meghan back into that environment, that risks headlines, tension, and a media storm that could undo all of it. So the decision seems simple: keep the peace, avoid the noise. But don't think for a second that invite didn't matter to them, because one moment like that could have changed everything. Access to elite circles, fashion influence, major collaborations, one yes can trigger a chain reaction of opportunity. Instead, silence.
Prince Harry is really keen to get his father involved, which I can tell you now Prince William will not let happen.
And now people are reading between the lines. This isn't just social distance, it's institutional distance. A clear signal that the gap isn't closing, it's growing. It leaves one big question hanging. What if things had never broken down this publicly?
Meghan Markle not invited to the Met Gala again? Shocking. The biggest fashion night of the year. Anna Wintour, Beyonce, billionaires everywhere. And somehow, the future of fashion didn't make the guest list? But I thought you were going into fashion, Meghan. No one assumed that, Megs. Literally no one.
Because not long ago, stepping away from royal life looked bold, like a power move towards something bigger. But after the interviews, the streaming deals, and all the public fallout, is it starting to look less like strategy and more like a gamble that didn't pay off? Now the bigger picture starts to hit, and it's not looking good. Those opportunities they once seemed so sure about, they're fading fast. One by one, doors that used to open effortlessly are now staying shut, and without that royal backing, everything feels harder to reach, harder to secure. And then there's the one thing closest to Harry's heart, the Invictus Games.
Prince Harry is serving on the front line in Afghanistan with the British Army, and British officials say the third in line to the throne has been in the war-torn country since December. Harry is a lieutenant in the Blues and Royals Regiment. The head of the army says the 23-year-old's conduct has been exemplary.
This isn't just another project, it's his legacy. But here's the tough question. What happens when royal support is no longer behind it? Because that backing isn't just symbolic, it's what gives events global attention, credibility, and real power. Strip that away, and things can shift quickly, and not in a good way. At the same time, the distance between Harry and the royal family keeps growing. It's no longer subtle, it's visible everywhere. Major moments tied to the monarchy are happening without him. Military remembrance events, ceremonies tied to service, events that once defined who he was, he's no longer part of them, even with his history in Afghanistan. Why? Because once he stepped back, those roles didn't pause. They were gone.
The King and Queen's visit to the 9/11 Memorial in New York, then on to Harlem and the New York Public Library rounded off a perfect tour. Meanwhile, Harry is trapped in this odd space where he still wants the status of royalty. This is, of course, while spending most of his time, along with wife Meghan, disrespecting the institution that gave him relevance in the first place.
Now it's King Charles and Prince William leading from the front, representing the crown, keeping tradition alive, while Harry watches from the outside. And that line? It's clearer than ever. Those inside the system and those who chose to leave it behind. What once sounded like freedom now comes with a price tag. The invites are drying up, the platforms are shrinking, and the identity he once carried is shifting in real time. So here's the question no one can ignore. In a world where royal approval still holds serious power, how do you rebuild your place after stepping away from the very institution that gave you influence in the first place? And just when you think the tension might ease, it actually gets worse. Because behind all the public events and headlines, the personal relationship between Charles and Harry is still sliding in the wrong direction.
Sky News contributor Louise Roberts compares this royal trip to the recent phony Sussex tour of Australia.
This week's US visit has been a triumph for King Charles. It has also been a fairly humiliating reminder of the difference between the monarchy and Montecito.
Even when they're in the same country at the same time. No meeting, no real conversation, nothing. How does a father and son get that far apart? Royal duty keeps taking priority every single time. And family, it keeps getting pushed further down the list until fixing things feels like something that's always delayed, again and again. But that's not the only issue stirring things up. Harry and Meghan's overseas appearances have raised eyebrows, and for some critics, they look way too similar to the royal tours they agreed to leave behind. Wasn't the whole point to step away from that role? The palace reportedly didn't take that lightly, and it only added more pressure to an already tense situation. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The public response hasn't exactly been overwhelming either. So now the question is, if the palace isn't happy and the crowds aren't reacting, where do they go from here? And now it all comes down to this. Insiders are calling it one of the lowest points ever between Charles and Harry, and that says a lot. After everything that's happened, the distance between them doesn't just feel real. It feels heavy, unresolved, and growing. Yes, there's still talk about reconciliation, but right now it feels far off, almost out of reach. And some are starting to ask a serious question. Is Harry running out of time to fix this before the gap becomes impossible to close? Because once that line is drawn too deep, can even family bring it back together? So what do you think? Should King Charles keep his distance, or is it time to finally reach out and try to repair what's been broken?